Hey there, and welcome to 10 TV Plus. I'm Dylan Robichaud alongside Michael Behrens. Michael, a little bit of rainfall underway this afternoon. I think the talk of the town, though, is the spring-like weather on the way.
I mean, once we get past the kind of cool weather outside today, I really wouldn't even call it that cold, but next week, the warm-up, beautiful.
We're in the 40s today, 40s again tomorrow, and then we're in the 50s Sunday, 60s by Monday, and then near 70 by Tuesday.
Nice. I got Monday and Tuesday off. That's going to be a great day to have off.
Oh, you lucky duck. All right, let's hop right into it. A stray shower possible as we head into tonight. We are tracking a dry weekend. You can see behind me right now, it is very cloudy out there. That is the trend, but it is going to be nice and warm as we head towards next week as well. Now, we are going to be tracking the possibility of a couple light showers today. Some of you guys may not get any rain at all, but I do want to cross my T's and dot my I's because some of you guys may actually get a spot shower. Here's our next system off to the west. More snowfall for Idaho. Can you believe that? Man, they had blizzard-like conditions there this week, and now we're going to be tracking that as it moves off to the east. By 3 o'clock, again, tracking some light showers north of I-70, and that will kind of be the trend as we head into the afternoon. By about 7 o'clock, you can see south of the interstate, not a whole lot showing up, but north of the interstate, still tracking some light showers. By 8, 9, 10 o'clock, again, it moves on out. There could be a couple towns, Chillicothe, Piketon, down towards Ross and Pike counties that don't really see much rain out there today. So we're tracking a few hundredths of an inch, if that. All right, so I would not cancel any plans due to rainfall, but you can see it does vary from town to town depending on who gets showers and, of course, who doesn't. So far for the month, we are actually a little bit behind the 8 ball. We've only had about 1/10 of an inch. 0.6 of an inch is where we should be at. Okay, so you do the arithmetic. We are running a deficit of around 1/2 of an inch, but whoop-de-doo. That's not that big of a deal. Quick update right now on the drought monitor, and we like to see this. If you recall, last summer we had a severe drought. That's no longer the case. Now it's abnormally dry out along I-70 out towards Zanesville and Cambridge and Caldwell, but the metro area, all of our surrounding counties, we're actually going into the spring months with a pretty decent water supply. So that is encouraging news. Now, as we look at monthly average rainfall, as we head into April, May, and June, we are going into severe weather season. So we actually tend to see a little bit more rainfall out there. Our annual average rain, about 41.5 inches, and a lot of that actually happens in the warm summer months because you get more severe storms that, of course, dump a lot of rainfall at any given time. Heading into the weekend, check it on out. Sunday, 53 degrees. That's probably the pick of the weekend if you are trying to get outdoors because that should be a beautiful day. And don't forget, Saturday night, you're going to want to put those clocks ahead 1 hour. Also, a good time to check the batteries in your smoke detector. We recommend that November and, of course, in March for daylight saving. So ahead 1 hour. It's officially 2 a.m. on Sunday. I would set them back on Saturday night. Now, of course, your Android and your iPhone do it automatically, but if you have a digital clock like an alarm clock, you might have to do that yourself. On Sunday, your sun doesn't come up until 7:52 a.m., and then your sunset is at 7:32 p.m. All right, so we take that hour of daylight in the morning, and we give it to the afternoon. Now, here's a look at that warming trend. Today, it is chilly, but we finally make it to 50s by Sunday, and then we break ground at 60 here by Monday of next week. Take a look at this right here. Your jet stream way up to the north. We are tapping into that warm supply of air. We're near 70 as we head towards next week. So we are getting very excited for that. We've got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 consecutive sunny days in a row. Get ready for it. Look at that, 69 degrees here by Tuesday. That'll be probably the pick of next week. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we are going to be tracking the threat of a few afternoon showers, a few more clouds, but right now with some of the latest model runs over the last couple of hours, next week's storm is not looking all that impressive. So we'll see how things resolve with that. Right now, though, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Cold tomorrow, but much milder by Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, even if we do have that rain, next week, we're still talking temperatures near 70 in March. It's hard to complain about that.
March is one of those months where you go up and you go down. I bet you going into April even, we still get a couple more stints of this cold air, but
yeah.
No more of the extreme cold, so that's what matters.
Knock on wood. Hopefully we don't get any more of those extreme cold outbreaks. And, Dylan, that forecast certainly shows how close that we are to spring. And the signs, they're starting to pop up other places as well. One such place is actually over in Union County, where they're getting some new tornado siren upgrades. The county is upgrading its siren system with new software that will automatically activate them when a National Weather Service warning is issued.
So it's a joint project between Union County Commissioner's Office, Union County Sheriff's Office, Union County Emergency Management, to bring those sirens up to where we can have those activated automatically when the National Weather Service issues a warning.
The goal is to make siren activation more efficient and precise, so only areas that are actually affected by a tornado warning will hear the sirens.
So it takes some of that burden off during the storms from our dispatching staff, so that warning will get out quicker.
The county expects the system to be fully operational within the next month. And another sign of spring, like you were saying, Dylan, is that time of the year where we move those clocks ahead. We lose an hour of sleep. Researchers are now saying that the 1 hour difference could impact your productivity, mental, and physical health. That's why the American Academy of Sleep Medicine wants to eliminate the seasonal time changes. They're recommending year-round permanent standard time.
Permanent standard time, our internal body clock is best aligned with the sun and external light from the sun. It's what's best for our overall health and well-being.
To adjust, doctors say expose yourself to bright light right away in the morning and maintain a consistent schedule. Also minimize caffeine later in the day. And it may not be tropical season yet in the U.S., but across the ocean, a rare cyclone is threatening millions on Australia's east coast. This afternoon, they are bracing for the arrival of a very slow-moving storm, the most southerly tropical cyclone to threaten the region in more than 50 years. Tropical cyclone Alfred is expected to make landfall either late today or early Saturday with the strength of a Category 1 hurricane as it swirls west toward the city of Brisbane. Home to 2.5 million people and coastal suburbs on either side. Here's a look at where things were early in the day on Friday. The cyclone was located still quite a bit off the coast and moving west with damaging winds around 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour, according to Australia's Bureau of Meteorology. The cyclone has whipped up hazardous waves along the coast, including one measuring a record 12.3 meters or 40 feet on the Gold Coast, popular tourist spot in Australia. In northern New South Wales, around 4,000 homes were without power Thursday due to downed power lines, heavy rain in some of those areas affected by this storm. Again, that storm's still expected to move into Australia. We'll plot kind of the path it's forecast to take there on your screen. Again, expected to make landfall either later today or early Saturday. And as of today, there's another spacecraft down on the lunar surface. The Houston-based Intuitive Machines lunar lander Athena touched down near the moon's southern pole Thursday afternoon, but crews were working to assess its condition. Athena brought with it an ice drill drone and 2 rovers. Zoners are planning to explore for signs of water on the moon, and that's just one of many space missions ongoing at the moment, some of those aiming to protect the Earth from asteroid. CBS's Chris Van Cleve introduced us to the so-called asteroid detectives and planetary defenders who are trying to protect everyone else down here on Earth.
This is the front line of planetary defense. The Lowell Discovery Telescope in northern Arizona is one of a handful around the world searching the night sky, hunting for asteroids that could potentially threaten planet Earth.
We can see orders of magnitude fainter than you would be able to with your naked eye.
Since December, astronomer Nick Moskovitz had this telescope trained on asteroid 2024 YR4. At the time, it was predicted to come uncomfortably close to Earth in about 8 years.
It rose to a threat level that we just have not seen very often. We knew we had to monitor it and try to understand everything we could about it. So not just where it is, but what is it made of, what size is it.
You kind of become an asteroid detective.
That's absolutely right.
It's like a blur.
On a computer screen, it's just a speck of light, tens of millions of miles away. But astronomers calculated it could be between 130 and 300 feet wide.
It would cause significant regional damage if it were to impact over a populated area.
You're talking about wiping out a city.
I'm talking about wiping out a city, yeah.
In 2013, a smaller asteroid just 60 feet across exploded over Russia, injuring more than 1,600 people. 50,000 years ago, an asteroid big enough to wipe out an entire city crashed to Earth in what is now northern Arizona. It left this crater, 3/4 of a mile wide, 600 feet deep. Back then, there was nothing humanity could do to stop an asteroid. That's changed.
And liftoff.
In 2022, a first-of-its-kind test, NASA intentionally crashed a spacecraft into a small asteroid, nudging it just enough to change its trajectory. NASA's acting planetary defense officer, Kelly Fast.
It's the only natural disaster that we could potentially prevent. And if you were to find an impact threat to Earth, well enough advance, then you wouldn't have to deflect it much for it to be able to miss the Earth in the future.
2024 YR4 won't need to be deflected. It's now expected to miss Earth. But astronomers believe 14,000 undiscovered asteroids large enough to cause damage could still be out there.
Find them before they find you. The sooner you find them, the more options you have for deflecting potentially hazardous asteroids.
Which is why Moskovitz keeps scanning the night skies. I'm Chris Van Cleve, outside Flagstaff, Arizona.
And finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. Continuing with the space theme, SpaceX's Starship spacecraft tumbled and exploded on Thursday, just minutes after liftoff from Texas, dooming an attempt to deploy mock satellites in the second consecutive failure of this year for Elon Musk's Mars rocket program. Several videos on social media show the fiery debris streaking through the dust skies near South Florida and the Bahamas after Starship's breakup, which occurred shortly after after lunch when it began a uncontrolled spin with the engines cut off. SpaceX live stream of the mission showed that disaster there. The Federal Aviation Administration issued a ground stop in Miami for at least a brief period of time, several other airports in Florida due to space launch debris.
Wow.
That's wild video there.
That's crazy.
What would you expect? You look up the sky and you see that. It's kind of
You
crazy.
would probably think it's aliens. I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't know better.
Yeah, definitely not good to see up there. And speaking of things, well, not good to see, a video from earlier this week when a fast-moving dust storm shrouded southwestern New Mexico and parts of northern Mexico in darkness Monday morning, prompted an emergency alert for drivers to shelter in place as officials tried to get cars off the interstate when a dust storm known as a haboob swept across two counties in New Mexico at a breakneck pace. National Weather Service says visibility was near zero as winds reached 45 miles per hour.
That is insane. You get a lot of dry air. You get those strong winds.
Yeah.
Especially sometimes you get these thunderstorm downdrafts here. You get the downdrafts and they push out the winds, man. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, they can get it sometimes so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just like the type of visibility we get here when we get into like whiteout snow conditions.
Right.
Except the problem is with dust, it doesn't melt when it's all said and done. You got to actually go out there and do something to remove this dust from your car.
Air travel, you can't fly through it.
Clog up the air filter in your car. I mean, it's just a mess no
Jeez.
matter how you look at it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, well that does it for us here on 10 TV Plus. For Dylan Robichaud and Michael Behrens, make sure to tune back for Jerry Martz tonight on 10 TV News at 6.